Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Aquarius energy. I ended up kind of having a problem with my Aquarius and Leo readings. So, but anyway, we won't get in the details, but we're doing it over. So, um, like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Aquarius energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy. We all have free will and we have to make these decisions in our life. And in our dualistic nature, we could be battling within ourselves. Some people could be. And anytime we are moving forward in life, the bottom row can just kind of represent our fears and our insecurities, and we've always got to kind of keep working through those. But um and some people could be battling within themselves, and some people, in our dualistic nature, we have the free will to eventually like pick a path. Am I more motivated and inspired to look at life from a higher perspective, have hope and faith and belief in my dreams, be loving and encouraging and supportive of myself? Or do I align with my more worldly, shadowy nature where I might indulge and keep indulging more in my fear or my insecurity or my past pain and heartbreak, making my life more about the ego or the image or things I indulge in to be the answer? And then we're dealing with all these different people in the world, and they harness their Aquarius energy. And, we're trying to kind of find people who might kind of be on the same page that we are. We're all at different emotional maturity levels, and we all have our ideas of what the dream life is like and what we think is just and fair. And, sometimes we can have a hard time accepting the truth that some people are quite shadowy, or even how important it is that we kind of have some core foundational truths that are the same, right? So let's go look at the top row. The top row, it starts out with the main male, which this reminds me of kind of Aries energy and Taurus energy, which Taurus energy is kind of our philosophy of life, and then Aries energy is being inspired by that philosophy of life. And high vibe people, they want to overcome these obstacles within themselves, outside themselves. This is an image, it would appear a feminine figure, and the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine energies can represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world and the action that we're taking. High vibe people are inspired to get overcome. And fire sign energy could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, which can be about, I want to live my authentic life. I want to be happy. I want to wrap my brain around this game of life. Shadowy energy can be all the things that manipulate us. I'm tired of all these things within me and outside of me manipulating me. And being inspired to work through those things that manipulate you, to be to live your more authentic life, stand up for your truth, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. And then we have a card not showing itself. And the way I interpret that is that we can all want to do that, right? But this card maybe could have been kind of a challenge, because that could have been an issue that we could have harnessed in a more worldly, shadowy way. And when we quit aligning with that energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, we're probably going to quit aligning with some people in our life that do harness that energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, also. When we hang out with different people, there's a reason why we hang out with different people. And it could have been something it could have just been something within us that made us be attracted to or align with certain people. What people don't know about some high vibe people, because sometimes some shadowy people just create an illusion. Look, I've moved forward. Look, I've healed. Look, I've grown. Look, I've matured. And they could think you're just putting on a good show. But what they don't know is you no longer harness that energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, and you harness it now in a more high vibe way. What is it? Unlocking the key. And I kind of view that as Leo energy, actually, which is fire sign energy. We have to get out of our ego to learn lessons in life, and the truth sets us free. And so the key card is like, again, wrapping your brain around this game of life that I hold the key to freeing myself from things that manipulate me. Where in the past, I could have looked to things outside of me to be the answer to me freeing myself. Things I indulged in, other people, like I got to be in a relationship with that person, got to have that job, whatever. That's the answer. And no, it's not the answer. And then we have to get out, because Leo energy can talk about our more egoic nature. I've got to get out of my ego, because again, the truth sets me free. If the things I've been working towards or people I've been in friendship or relationship with, it's not working out, am I going to keep saying in my ego, like, no, God, change them. No, God, make this work. No, God. And God's like, they have free will to live their life whatever way they want. You can stay in your ego about it, or you can in high vibe Leo. And I view high vibe Leo as offering our self love and compassion and forgiveness for the lessons we've had to learn, and to love and believe in ourselves and offer love and compassion to other people in our life, accepting the truth that they're at wherever they're at in life and they've moved on. Maybe some of them ahead of us, some of them behind us in like their emotional maturity or and our own extent of being more bold and brave and confident. We accept the truth. I'm where I'm at, other people are where they're at, and I can only deal with the truth. So I accept the truth. But I'm motivated to overcome obstacles in my life, because the mountain in tarot, this person has gotten to the top of a mountain and looking over the landscape. Other people can try to put obstacles in my way, and I can let them be an obstacle in my life, or I can overcome them. I can have things within me emotionally that keep me stuck back here, kind of in my ego. Or I can offer love and compassion to myself to get out of my ego. And the masculine cards can represent, whether people are male or female, that they could have been operating a little bit more from their egoic nature. And there's these things in the world that we want, and we want to manifest them. And we can kind of think that, if I'm a just or fair or loving person, other people will choose love, won't they? And we have to see the truth that not everybody's ready to do love. Some people never want to do love. Some people are more about themselves. Some people are more bossy, controlling, immature, whatever. We accept the truth. We get out of our ego about it. Not everything works out the way we want, because if it was a more just, fair, balanced, and we were both on the same page, it probably would have worked out. But our truth of what our dreams are, even if it's not really big things or people having these complete disparities between how they feel about life or live life, it can just be, you want to live in a small town, I want to live in a big town. You are motivated and inspired to go do all these things, I don't. It doesn't have to be that people are ugly, awful people. It's just that, what kind of motivates and inspires you, and even what you could find that drives and motivates you, that you want to accomplish in your life. I maybe don't feel that need to have those things or do those things to the extent that you do, but everybody's on their own journey, right? So I just accept the truth. And then the direction card also kind of reminds me of Sagittarius energy, fire sign energy, about kind of wrapping our brain around this game of life. And it also kind of reminds me of, kind of, I suppose we could look at it as like Virgo and Aquarius, because Virgo and Aquarius can both talk about what our truth is and what we want, our end goal that we want to accomplish, and what we probably would find emotionally fulfilling and stable and grounded and loving and nurturing and supportive. And it can just be different with different people, right? Some of them are more shadowy, some of them could be perfectly lovely people, but just how we want to move forward in our life is kind of different. So we keep being inspired. Well, I have my truth, they have their truth. High vibe people wish people peace and love and joy because that's like good soil to grow their life in. Then we have the seduction card, and then we have the bouquet card, and then we have the sudden wealth card. On one hand, as we're trying to move forward in our life, there is a part of us because both the bouquet card that says Virgo on it, the sudden wealth kind of reminds me of the 10 of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy. There we're always kind of seduced. We're humans and we live in the world, and there are these things that we're drawn and attracted to, and again, people we could be attracted to, um, things of the world that we would like to have in our life. And as we're moving forward, you could be trying to work through those things, that could kind of be a roadblock. Like, I want these things, and maybe I should quit moving forward like this and kind of do something else or kind of backtrack. It's good to, at any time in our life as we're moving forward, we could have kind of, the reason for the bottom rose reading is the adjudication card. There could have definitely been some things we called judgment on, but then, as we move forward in different friendships, relationships, jobs, we always have to kind of be aware that we could get into things and then we might kind of realize, wait a minute, maybe I wasn't even seeing how, wasn't seeing this with this card remind me of Leo, which is also represented by the Sun card. Maybe I wasn't seeing the truth of something. And we can always get in job, friendship, or relationship with people. And we could be dealing with people at any time in our life. We leave one job, we go get in a different job, we disconnect from some friendship or relationship, we kind of start hanging out with some other people. It kind of can take time to really get to know people, to um, more see the truth of kind of who they are and kind of what drives and motivates them. So we could move forward in something thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to really be like victorious and successful, and we're on the same page. But then over time, we could kind of realize, wait a minute, is this my truth or isn't this my truth? And the whole thing about high vibe energy is wanting to deal with the truth and not wanting to be more manipulated by your more worldly egoic nature, because what you thought was going to turn out is probably not going to turn out the way that you wanted it, right? So we want to act in our truth. And if some people find that some of the things or people or habits or something that they were kind of moving forward with, which might have been a little better than things they had been moving forward with or living their life, they're willing to see the truth of it. And I kind of view the trumpet card also as calling judgment on things, which the adjudication card reminds me of judgment. Wait a minute, maybe I wasn't seeing things clearly, and maybe, I might need to take some time. And so when a card's not showing itself, also, the way I interpret that is that people could be doing this work within themselves to kind of really think. Aquarius is their sign energy of the mind, about why am I kind of motivated and inspired to move forward in what I'm moving forward? What about the people I'm hanging out with? Am I does it seem to be that everyone, I kind of view the seduction card also as kind of Sagittarius and fire sign energy, you know, are we kind of motivated and inspired to keep putting in high vibe Virgo work and effort? Is our truth the same? Is and high vibe energy would be truth, love, justice, fairness, a balance in life. I want some of these things in the world, but I'm not willing to sacrifice truth, love, justice, and fairness. And wanting to be in relationships with people who I view as stable and grounded and insightful and encouraging and loving and that I'm attracted to. So, does that seem to be the case? And for the people, as they're moving forward, either with people in their own life, some people could try to keep you kind of staying stuck in a pattern. Like, don't call judgment on this. This is great. Let's keep doing this. But I might not want to call judgment on it and kind of move forward, kind of being more bold and brave to step out of my comfort zone. And if we've kind of realized, the sudden wealth kind of reminds me of the Ten of Pentacles that, we've been moving forward in this direction. A lot of things can seem good about it, but I kind of feel like we've kind of learned everything we needed to learn. And now it's ready to be bold and brave and confident again to face our fears, to keep moving forward. And sometimes we can be in new job, friendships, or relationships from whenever we were living our life differently. And then that kind of friendship, or relationship, or job kind of comes to completion in a way. Like, because at any phase of life that we're at, we're going to want to hang out with people in a way that are kind of at that phase of life with us. But then as we move forward, some people could be ready to move forward again a little differently, a little more hopeful, or a little more healed, or feeling a little more stable or grounded, or their intuition is just telling them it's time for me to kind of be bold and brave and listen to my intuition to move forward. And then we have other people that have been in our life, but they're still maybe not ready. And, that's always kind of the problem that we have. And then with anyone in our life, that then we kind of got to work through the shadow energy of it. Of, do I think they have more fears or insecurities of change? Is this their epitome of the dream life? And I'm good, let's stay here. And it's like, did I like that? Did I enjoy it? Would I like it to move forward? Yes, but if my intuition is calling me forward to keep moving forward, but yours is telling you you're not ready, well, we can always compromise with people. And some people could be trying to do that, being loving and encouraging to people to help them work through their shadow nature of whatever fears they could have. Because again, when we're going to maybe start something new or move forward in life a little differently, we kind of have to look at those things in our life that maybe some people have found that, I kind of been there, I kind of done that. And I don't feel those are kind of like good building blocks to take with in the next phase of life. Like, there's some things that we have to be willing to see the truth of, that need to maybe be let go of. And that can be attitudes or philosophies of life, or our defensive nature, or you know every stage of life is peeling back a layer of our more fearful or codependent or egoic or entitled or whatever nature, right? And sometimes when some people have kind of worked through that, and that can be, again, fire sign energy, being inspired to do that inner work, to work through those issues so that you can be free to keep moving forward. Some other people are like, but I liked being in the friendship or relationship. Are you working here? Um, and I don't, we're kind of not ready to go do things differently. and we're happy with it staying right here. And that's when some people are like, I want to keep growing and healing and learning and maturing. And, if I keep staying in it, it kind of starts to diminish and become less and less abundant because you might know you're doing it more out of fear, insecurity, or codependency, or fear of change, or whatever. So, for some people, though, who just kind of got out of some things, they did get out of their ego. They are inspired to overcome being tempted in their more worldly nature, or maybe doing a status quo. And there's a time and period where you might take some time to do this work within yourself to be ready and close out a cycle, is what the tens can talk about. And when you weren't ready in the sun card, kind of, I'm not ready yet to have that new beginning or move forward. I might be just wrapping my brain still around. I'm inspired, and I might be doing things a little differently, and might be doing this inner work within myself to love and believe in myself or heal. And while I'm doing that work, when I feel like I am ready, or, I'm okay kind of living my life, if there, say, for example, someone is in a relationship. Well, I didn't like what I was in, so I got out of that. Well, then they're not taking action out of ego to kind of just feel better, to just get in a relationship. It's like, no, I have a dream. And while I might not have uh more of a, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or even the job that I want, I'm going to put in this work and effort to do the things I can work on and enjoy the things and the people in my life that are all part of that, parts of the big dream, you know, and I'm going to keep listening to my intuition. And when I feel like the right opportunity comes around, kind of makes me think of that saying. Some people would call it luck, but other people would maybe call it like planning meets opportunity. If there's not, there could be people in the environment that would like to be in a relationship with people. But if you kind of feel like those people might be more high vibrational or more mature or more stable or more grounded, whatever, than some other people that you've known in your life, if your intuition is kind of telling you that, it's kind of getting in another pattern where it might be more inspired by the world and the things of the world, and to be in a relationship to be in a relationship, or indulge in a relationship, or because of the status or the ego or the image, or, the money, say if it's a job. But it's like, I want to be in things and be in jobs and friendships and relationships with other people who are really inspired by not just making it more about being in a relationship to be in a relationship, or having a job because of the job or what it pays or the status. I want to be in ones that are truly abundant, where people are again inspired to be more authentic, more loving, encouraging, supportive, mature. And sometimes we're in those environments to a degree, but I don't know. The Ten of Pentacles can just be where people feel like, I kind of taken this as far as I can, and I can be loving and encouraging and supportive to other people. But if they're not inspired to kind of move forward in life differently, then it kind of keeps me stuck. And again, you might work with people because you don't want to take action more out of ego. But eventually, if you kind of know that people might want to keep moving forward with you, but it is more for these other reasons than really maybe being more inspired by love. And, anytime we're living our life, we can have people in our life who want to be in friendship or relationship with us, and they want to keep moving forward the way it is. And it's like, and again, people can be perfectly lovely people, but we could kind of feel with some of those situations in our life that, is there a lot of things about it and things I like about it? And again, we come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And if something about it is like, I just don't feel like it's really my truth. And, again, as we move through things, we can get in friendships and relationships with people. We can be loving and encouraging and supportive people to each other to make each other feel more stable and grounded. And then it's kind of like, well, where do we go next? And again, the way they envision it, which is kind of, there is only one fire here, so kind of like one wand, which can be about what motivates and inspires you for what you're looking towards next. And some people are like, "Oh, we're at the top of the mountain, we're done, we did it, success." But at what point do people say that? Oh, we got married, we're done, success. Oh no, no more aspirations, nothing more to look forward to. I'm going to be happy the rest of my life because we got married. Kind of like some people have that idea, right? Or, oh my gosh, look, I got a job, I'm happy. And their employer's like, well, that's not the end. There's more to come. And they're like, what? You know, I'm sure you get the idea. So we always have to kind of look at, what is my truth? And if people, needless with the people in their life who are loving and encouraging and supportive, we can let other people kind of move on with their life differently than we live our life, and we can still be loving and encouraging and supportive people. Some people might hide there a little bit in their ego that, other people were a little more bold and brave and confident. It's like, well, gee, I was happy with this, and it might be wonderful, and it might be their truth. But for other people, it's like, that's not my truth. But can I love you and be happy for you and encourage you to live your life and pursue whatever you pursue? Can you love me and be encouraging of me and for me to go pursue my life? And with some people in our life, we do, but then there can be other people in our life who don't like it because, again, if we're kind of motivated and inspired to move forward a little differently and they're not, we're probably going to be more drawn and attracted to hanging out with some people who are more interested and inspired by the things that we are. And high vibe, it's not from a shadowy place. It's just my intuition and my dream can be different than your dream. In general, high vibe people would kind of get out of their ego, and it's more about living their more authentic life and their more authentic truth and wanting to be in relationships with people who are inspired to live their life that way also. And some of you have been doing some work that, because you put in that work and effort, your dreams are kind of coming into reality, and you have a lot of stability and feelings of abundance within yourself. And then you put in work and effort in your friendships or relationships or your career, whatever the different things that you were focused on, even if some other things weren't working out the way you wanted. They're all part of my dream, so I'm going to focus on the things that I can and work with the people in whatever phase of aspect of my life that are willing to work with me that way. And some people can even see you as very stable, abundant, or fire sign energy, attractive or charming, Aquarius energy, kind of shining bright in the world. Some people might not know that you're someone who isn't really driven more by your ego. And some people might want to get to know you, and you might meet some people who could be attracted to you. And again, some of those people, it's kind of to get to know each other to find out what their truth is, what kind of people they want to be in a relationship with. Like, oh, you're not more from your ego. Oh, that's too bad. That would have been nice, but I really am kind of more about myself for these things of the world. Um, and now, as I maybe got to know you, I found out that that's not what really drives and motivates you, and you're not willing to hang out with me or do a friendship or relationship or whatever more for these reasons of the world. And other people will find out, damn, like you would be someone, and then those people maybe just have to work through their own more worldly egoic nature of high vibe energy of being just really more authentic and loving and not make it more about either themselves or the ego or the image, but make it about more than that. So let's go look at the bottom row. We have the Journey card, Half Truce, Occupation, which is Virgo, I view as Virgo energy, Sad News, Star, and then we have two cards not showing itself. So we all go on this journey of life of learning these lessons in life. And, we had a dream we were trying to get to have judgment go in our favor, have things work out the way we wanted. But sometimes we were working, sometimes we were the one who had work to do within ourselves, again in Virgo energy. Sometimes the other people had some work to do within themselves. And then have we worked through our past pain and heartbreak and regrets of the past, and or haven't we? Do we have hope and faith and belief in our dreams? And some people don't. It's like the truth is, I might want to work together with other people. I enjoy being in relationships with other people. I like to have a job, but I'm really not that inspired to, look at these things that I might need to work through and see the truth of, to work through them, to have more hope and faith and belief in myself or in others or in love. And so they could like to keep repeating a pattern. And some people don't like to see the truth that in their Virgo nature, which can be, you're either kind of inspired to work through those things that manipulate you, or you might not really want to see the truth of them. And then you might focus more on not wanting to see the truth. And high vibe Aquarius is working through your mental conflict in truth and love to look at life from a higher perspective, keep things in perspective. Some people might not look at life from a higher perspective, and they're still kind of more caught up in the illusion of the world or things they like to make their life about. If I have that, I'll be happy. Or if I indulge in that, I'll be happy. And some people don't look at life from a higher perspective. I don't think there's any higher truth or justice to aspire to. The world tells us, it's like Virgo energy, the world tells us we should make our life about these things. And if we make our life about those things, maybe instead of being inspired to connect in with our being more balanced, and because high vibe Virgo would be balanced, the 10 of Pentacles would be, I have my 5 of Pentacles worldly philosophy and nature, but I also have my more hopeful, believing, loving philosophy of life and nature. And I'm going to inspire myself and love myself to keep moving forward where I have a balance of both. And that is what kind of truly makes us abundant. But in order to be more balanced, we have to be inspired to not let ourselves get tipped out of balance. And some people also don't want to see the truth in the half truth card, that, it takes work and effort. It takes work and effort to deal with the truth, deal with the past. We have to be willing to see where, with this being a feminine figure, where was, how how did things not work out because I had emotionally growing and maturing to do? And I maybe had to temper my ego, and I maybe was caught up in the world, or I was more about myself, or I was trying to control things. What about some of the people I wanted to have a dream come into reality with, but it didn't quite work? Am I willing to see the truth that I can know people and we're all just kind of fallible human beings, right? Some people can be a little more of this or a little more of that. Um, and they have their own issues to work through. And some of those people didn't really work through those issues. And so then it was hard to have a dream come into reality because, again, it's kind of like we view life differently, what we're kind of motivated and inspired by, if we're more bold and brave and confident to deal with the truth, or there too even be motivated by love, because the sad news card is like the 5 of cups. And some people, the truth is, they are maybe like to keep their emotions more buried beneath the surface, so not more bold and brave and confident to let their more authentic nature come out to play in the world, to have that hope and faith and belief in themselves. Well, what if I put myself out there and then it doesn't work out? And some people, it can really be like this ego thing, like that would really be devastating or something. But if you it's just like falling down and hurting yourself, that every time, like, say, learning how to ride a bike. Some people tried to ride a bike, they got hurt, they decided, I'm not going to try to ride a bike anymore. And other people kept getting back up, and the more you do it and the more practice you have in your life of being more bold and brave and confident, listening to your intuition, knowing it does take work and effort, and I've got to get out of my ego, have that confidence in myself to believe I can. You have that foundation within yourself because you've had more practice. And maybe some people never really put themselves out there that much to build that foundation within themselves that makes them feel more stable or grounded or confident within themselves, because they could always kind of give in emotionally to their more shadowy nature, which in a shadowy, more egoic nature can be, I'm going to kind of indulge myself in my more emotionally immature nature. I could get hurt doing that, or it might not work out the way I want. So even though I might be sad that some opportunities pass me by, I kind of listen to that aspect of myself that tells me, no, 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 let's just, in the journey card, can also kind of reminds me of the 6 of Cups. It also, which is Scorpio energy, it also reminds me of a more shadowy Sagittarius energy. Let's keep being motivated and inspired emotionally to keep putting in work and effort to do things the way we've done it. I'm sure everything will turn out okay. And then some people don't have hope and faith and belief in love. And some people in a more shadowy Scorpio energy that anyone can harness, I don't even want to do love. I am an emotionally complex human being, is what Scorpio talks about. I find it confusing. I don't even like to connect in with my emotions that much. I might have a lot of things that confuse me, and that is Scorpio energy with the half truth. We can have a lot of conflicting thoughts toward about things and towards people. And it's really hard, and it takes work to work through things that, ways of living life and viewing life that we at one time could have thought, yeah, man, this is just and fair. And yeah, this is what I want to do. And yeah, these people are just and fair, or whatever. These people are shining stars and I got to follow their example. When are we inspired to live our more authentic truth instead of making our life more about making our life more about the world, making our life more about living our life like other people live their life. Well, that's what they do, and they seem to be victorious and successful. And then it can be kind of like trying to copy other people's life, but it's not really your life. And the other people could really be living their authentic life. And you could think, oh, well, look how happy they are, and look how they're living their life, and look how they dress or what they do, or, and it can be all this stuff of kind of trying to mimic other people, hoping it'll cause that end result in your own life. But other people are maybe living their more authentic truth and in high vibe instead of letting their ego, which can be their fear, their regrets, their shame, the past, those people offered put in work and effort to work through all that and offer love to it. Everybody had their idea of what the dream life was, and just because they like going bowling 5 days a week and seem to have this life that seemed great, I am not going to go bowling 5 days a week, or these people do this, or those people do that. That's great. Let them do that. That's what motivates and inspires them, hopefully, and what they enjoy. But we're all different. We all grow up in families, and we might have brothers, sisters, mom, dads, cousins. We live in certain neighborhoods, communities, cities, states, countries, and people act and behave in certain ways that they might enjoy, might work victoriously and successfully for them. But is that my truth? Are we willing to make a decision that I have my own unique goals and interest and unique talent, skills, and interests and things I enjoy investing my time, energy, and effort in high vibe energy, not wanting to hurt anyone, not wanting to take advantage or abuse anyone. I just want to live my authentic life. But maybe we can be afraid of judgment. And maybe some of the people in our life, we have two cards turning their back to people. If you shine your authentic light, and live your authentic life, or you look at life differently than we do, or you don't make your life about these things, and you're not more about us or caught up in these things of the world, or indulge in these things that we indulge in the half truth that we think are the answer. Well, it might be the answer for them, or maybe they're people who really don't want to see the truth. And maybe they haven't healed. And maybe that's why they make their life about that. And other people are sad in high vibe, harnessing these energies in a high vibe way. They offer the people in their life truth and love. That's high vibe Virgo, is offering people truth and love. I wanted a dream to come into reality with you. And maybe some people were dealing with people that did repeat some poor past patterns, or just aren't very truthful or authentic, or kind of deceptive and manipulative. That's like shadowy energy too. I try to manipulate people to get them to do what I want. And I don't really want to put in the work and effort to work through some situations that maybe already had damage to them. And I might not want to see the truth about how I contributed to some of that damage, or in order to I'd have to hold myself accountable for my actions. And some people are like, I'm willing to let you and those opportunities go because either that's not my truth, that's not how I view life, or I'd have to call judgment on my more shadowy nature. And some people, a way of compensating for some issues they don't want to deal with can be in a shadowy Aquarius energy, where people stay in denial of it and then maybe think because I have a certain status or image, or I look a certain way, or whatever, that there'll be people who want to be in a relationship with me. I don't have to change. The fives can talk about change, and this is the Five of Cups. I might have done some things that I have regrets about. I'm not willing to reveal the truth. I'm not willing to be more authentic. I'm not willing to be held accountable for my actions. So, though I might be sad also, it's just that's the way I live life. That's my truth. And they think everything will work out the way they want. I just think probably eventually this pattern keeps repeating with people. And eventually, the people who end up staying in a relationship with them are people who are in the same energy as them. Who, again, yep, I might not want to do deep, meaningful relationships. I might be more about me. I might be more about the ego or the image or the status. And then they might be hiding that they do harness these energies in a more shadowy way, but they don't want people to know it. And it's to put in this work and effort like, look, I have what other people have in the world. I look victorious and successful. But it could be, it has to be more about them, any relationship that they're in. They have to be indulged in a relationship. So they could try to work with people who don't know the truth about them. Maybe at one time, or they know them in a certain environment or from the past, but they really don't know about some more current behaviors and things that they've done, and those people still kind of buy into the illusion of who they are. And then some people like to play the victim, like, oh no, um and then that's shadowy fire sign energy, because people can try to present themselves as more high vibe than they are, and they really are operating from their more shadowy nature, but they go out and try to present themselves in the world like, oh no, I'm fair, I'm balanced, I'm healed, I'm emotionally mature, stable, grounded, loving. And that's a lie. It's just how they try to present themselves in the world. And then some of them might just like to indulge in relationships, but they never really are going to have the dream come into reality where it will be a more authentic, deep, meaningful relationship. But and maybe try to play the poor pitiful me like these other relationships. And that's why I'm worried about bringing that dream into reality. Maybe we could just keep indulging in this relationship, and so long as you want to keep staying in the relationship, then that works for me. But the dream may never come into reality. And some other people are like, if I have a dream, I want to work together with people that really are more self insightful, more mature, more authentic, more loving, less defensive, less egoic. Is it difficult? Because I could be attracted to you, I could like you, whatever. I could have already gotten in a relationship with you. But if as time goes by, I keep seeing that I keep trying to move it forward, and basically you keep repeating some old patterns, eventually I can't keep staying in denial of the truth. How we want to move forward is differently. And the high vibe people in their life do this work within themselves to work through their own kind of more worldly, shadowy nature that would make them keep doing this. And eventually, those people do work through it, get out of their ego, accept the truth, how you want to move forward, and your idea of the dream life, relationship, or job environment is different than mine. And then the shadowy people try to hide that some people who harness this in high vibe energy left. Because, and they don't want people to know, because they harness it in a more shadowy way. What is it? The house, which reminds me of Aries energy up here, and the whip, which is Scorpio energy. Some people in a foundation, whatever type of foundation, workplace or otherwise, they can be very harsh and critical in their own head. They could have friends or family members that kind of control and manipulate them. Their more defensive nature to doing love could make them think, no, I'm okay with a more superficial, shallow relationship. Life's just about death, sex, and taxes. I just indulge myself in a relationship with people anyway, male or female. I really don't do love. So, and I could be kind of harsh, critical, bossy, that shadowy energy, kind of bossy, controlling, maybe manipulative, maybe do think it should be more about me, or this having to make my life to have a certain status or image in the world is the most important thing. And then I really get on other people about that. And you need to act this way, and you need to do this and not do that, and hang out with these people and not those people. And, all those things really kind of whip them. And some of them, it's just that they're more about themselves. And some of them are unwilling to take accountability for their actions. And some people are full of themselves and they think other people shouldn't love and believe in themselves to be more independent because they're not more independent. They are a slave to the world, a slave to their ego, a slave to their fear, a slave to other people in their life who maybe their high vibe energy is about being independent. And some of these people are quite codependent, whether it's their friend group or their original family or whoever. And they probably did try to manipulate and control people in a relationship. Instead of working through some of their issues and having some hope and faith and belief and love to deal with the people in their life inspired by truth and love. And because they made that free will choice to try to maybe intimidate or control people, or I don't think you'll love and believe in yourself. I know I've tried to stand up for myself and to my own shadow nature and other people in my life, and I always gave in. I don't think you'll love and believe in yourself, and you'll come back and you'll be willing to do the relationship the way I do life and let whatever manipulates me manipulate you. And some people said, no, that is not the type of environment I want to live my life in, and that is not my truth. That might be your truth. Well, until you work through those things that manipulate you, it does keep you kind of imprisoned, because the whip and the house and Aries energy is about the self. If those things really manipulate you, well, you've made your choice in your free will. And I worked through how those things could manipulate me. And I decided I wasn't going to let all these other things manipulate me. And I decided to love and believe in myself. And I was inspired to put in this work and effort to free myself from things that manipulate me. And now you're probably moving forward looking very victorious and successful, not coming back. And then some of those people could be in a little regret that they chose to act like that way. But again, because they're unwilling and those things still manipulate them the same way they manipulated them in the past, they're going to keep acting that way with the next employee or the next relationship. They've kind of learned to maybe hide it better. you know, that's the thing. Some people learn lessons in life where they do grow and heal and mature themselves, and other people just learn, oh, I need to hide that better. And they never work through these issues that keep manipulating them. It's just trying to wear a better false mask. Okay, what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Aquarius energy? You are inspired to move forward, to work through some things of your past that you had wished would have worked out the way you wanted, and accepting the truth of it. We weren't on the same page. Our truth wasn't the same. The Eight of Cups. Why? Because of the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy, and the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of cups is Pisces energy. Scorpio energy and Aquarius energy and Leo energy and Gemini, which has to do with our free will. They're all fixed sign energies, and it's kind of the energies I believe that we tap into when we're in the midst of something because we're putting in work and effort to try to bring a dream into reality. And it's hard to transition out, and Virgo and Pisces are the ones, and oh, wait, Sagittarius is, no, Sagittarius is a, no, not Gemini. Sagittarius, Gemini, and Pisces and Virgo are the mutable signs, and they're kind of the energies I believe that we tap into when we're trying to transition out of something. And it's putting in that work and effort to have hope and faith and belief in our dreams and offer ourselves that cup of love to work through the emotional confusion of something that we had been involved in. Seeing, working through the emotional confusion of it. Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? Where did I need to temper my ego? Where wasn't I seeing the truth of? What about the people I was in relationship with? Because if we don't want to repeat that old pattern, there's always going to be people in the world who could represent that way of being or that energy or have some of those same traits and characteristics. And first of all, we need to get out of being in that energy. So we put in work and effort to work through the regrets, to put life in perspective, look at life from the big picture. I'm probably going to live 80 years. So that didn't work out. Do I need to get involved in something new right away? No. This can be a time for me to work on myself and my confidence and things that confuse me and things that manipulate me, and learn to love myself and work through things that could have make me take action more out of codependency or lack mentality or lust or greed or whatever, right? Because I want to be independent. I do not want to repeat that pattern anymore. And the 8 of Cups is going to the 9 of Cups, which is being more independent. And Virgo and High Vibe is being more independent within yourself and knowing your worth and value, and maybe taking this time to really get clear, looking at all the different friendships and relationships and workplaces you've worked with. Who are the people that had good traits and qualities and characteristics? Do I have those or don't I? If I don't, and I admire that and respect that, and they seem to be working in a way and moving forward in a way that seems more stable, grounded, or independent, well, then that takes work. And I need to work through my things and have hope and faith and belief in myself, keep things in perspective, don't give up on myself, don't go repeat old patterns, or I'm going to repeat the same thing. And there'll be people who are happy to work with me in that energy because they're in that energy too. If I want to work with people who are more insightful, stable, grounded, inspired, authentic, and loving, I need to do the work within me to align with that energy within me. So that's my truth. And for some of the people that are doing that work within themselves, it takes time. Again, in Scorpio, we are these emotionally complex human beings. It takes time and a lot of work and effort to work through it all. Where emotionally, we're not as emotionally entangled up in it anymore. And out of love for ourselves, we're moving forward to accept the truth, get out of our ego, move forward, become independent, let people live their life the way they want to live their life, and believing that there kind of are rules to this game of life. And some people in our life might think there isn't. They might think they're the boss and maybe think they can control everything and think it should be all about them, and maybe are full of themselves or just immature or sad or whatever. But all we can do is offer people truth and love and encouragement, and then they have to make the decision within themselves if they are going to embrace that energy within themselves. Because there are people in the world who, I'm sad, I don't love and believe in myself, and I want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't know that truth about me, who's willing to put a lot of work and effort into being a loving and encouraging person in my life. And now that is like the job I have for you. That's your job. Because I don't think that is my job. And that is kind of a more immature codependent energy. Well, no, I just go look for people who put in a lot of work and effort to be make things loving or nurturing or stable or abundant, but it is kind of like them indulging in it because they don't align with that energy within themselves to be someone who does that also. And eventually people who get in a relationship with them kind of feel a little sad. Like, I do kind of feel like, you might use the love that I have for you to try to manipulate me, to kind of keep indulging you in this type of a relationship dynamic. But I thought, we both were going to do that work to bring that dream into reality. And eventually, if people don't free themselves from the things that manipulate them within themselves, and we kind of keep seeing it over and over, that they keep choosing to repeat that old pattern, we keep going back to square one, that some people are done. I'm done with the illusion, no longer in denial. I have offered people truth and love to work together with me in a more just, fair, balanced way. They keep not wanting to do that or take accountability. And, eventually there's Judgment Day. And the shadowy people never thought people would call judgment on them because you're a loving and encouraging person and you want this dream to come into reality. It's like I did, and I feel like I did everything I could. No longer an illusion about it. If you were motivated and inspired to work together with me in that way, you would, and you don't. So I'm not going to stay in denial of the fact that you could have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. I wish you peace and love with the next people you employ or try to get in a friendship or relationship with. But out of love for myself, I wish you peace, and I'm kind of distancing myself to go invest my time, energy, and effort in relationships with people who do want to offer love to the situation, to work together with people in a more emotionally fulfilling, just and fair and balanced way. And that's apparently not you. So, what is coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy that they might not see coming? The Four of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the reason is because of the Knight of Wands. Well, the shadowy people keep holding back from being inspired to offer love, to do equal give and take so things can move forward in an emotionally balanced, loving way. And they've had some people in their life that have been trying to offer them love and encouragement to do that. And eventually, the high vibe people in their life, at the same time they're offering those people love and encouragement, they're also inspired to offer love to themselves, to maintain balance within themselves, to stay in an energy of love. And eventually they see the truth as those people keep kind of repeating this old pattern. Like, either I'm going to hold back love from you, I don't think you'll move away, and I can try to manipulate and control you. Or a more shadowy Knight of Cups is trying to create an illusion that I'm going to do that and do more equal give and take. And they might do it for a while and then they revert back to the way they were. And it's like, People who are authentically inspired by love and like to get along with people and want to get along with people, and it doesn't have to be more about them and them being indulged, or, like a false sense of feeling powerful, feeling, you know, if you're not that type of person, it's just hard to wrap your brain around it. But eventually, some of the people in their life are going to tell them, I am moving forward. And from the Four of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles, I'm done in the Two of Pentacles kind of juggling and going back and forth about seeing the truth of who you are. If you're motivated and inspired to move forward in a more emotionally balanced, equal give and take, loving way, you would. And I've kind of worked through it within myself to feel balanced within myself. Both the Six and the Chariot can talk about balance. I'm going to move forward. And if you want to keep repeating this pattern, you're going to have to go repeat it with someone else. And just like when other people have moved away, these people will not want to see the truth. They're still inspired to be either not open up, not more give of themselves, be kind of selfish, but wanting to be in a relationship. So again, they get this like idea and get inspired. Well, I'll just create an illusion that I'm willing to do more equal give and take and move things forward with someone else. And then I'll create the illusion all over again. Or I want to be in a relationship, but I want to do it harnessing all these energies in a more shadowy way. It's more about shadowy Taurus and Cancer versus high vibe Taurus and Cancer, to be in a relationship where it is more transactional, where I kind of get to be immature and people should indulge me, and we get in the relationship and we stay in the relationship because it kind of looks victorious and successful, like we've moved on, like we're living our life just like other people, but we're more inspired by the world, for the things of the world, for these reasons of the world. It's just to create the illusion that it's motivated and inspired by love. And for some, I just want to be in a relationship. It's good for my ego, my image. It looks like I've moved on and I have someone to indulge in a relationship with. But I really am not motivated and inspired to work through my issues to ever become free of them and independent of them. And if there's people in my life, whether it's a friend group or my original family group, oh, I'm really more codependent on those people. You're someone, I might date you, I might marry you. But if those people at some future point in time say, you know, we really don't like that person or how that's going, or you seem to change, or you don't seem to be more focused on us. Oh, sorry, by the way, bye. I wish I could keep staying in a relationship and moving forward with you, but I'm more codependent on these things or these people, or being more about myself. And if you're not indulging me and whatever manipulates me, letting that manipulate you, well, then sorry, I got to go. And I think they're going to have more high vibe people who leave their life. It's kind of like God uses everyone for God's purposes. We all have free will. What is your truth? What kind of people do you want to hang out with and invest your time, energy, and effort into? Oh, looky here. Here's this person. They might have some ways of looking at life and viewing life like you could kind of be comfortable with. Because again, we'll all repeat past patterns until we're willing to see the truth and we work through why we kind of repeat that pattern and why we behave certain ways and why we're attracted to certain people. And again, for the first 30, 40 years of our life, we can all be pretty caught up in the world. And we can definitely go through a big phase of our life where, there's these things of the world we really want to manifest. And we can also go through a big phase of life where we really kind of have a hard time really loving and believing in ourselves, and so we kind of stay in more codependent kind of relationships. And there'll be other people who need to learn lessons from people like this. And those people will come in. And then those people have the free will to decide, is that my truth? Isn't that my truth? Some of those people, whether they've known them since childhood or family or new relationships, some of those people are going to be leaving because, eventually they're just kind of ready to move on. And some people, again, some people kind of want to keep playing the victim, and that's how they like to feel like the center of attention. Poor, pitiful me. And try to get people to indulge them in that energy. And people can for a while, and eventually they're like, you know what? I just can't keep doing that. I can wish you peace and love from a distance, hang out here and there, but if you're really looking for someone to keep indulging you, and I don't really think you're telling the truth about some things, and might want to not take accountability for your own actions, maybe someone who just blames everyone else, well, I wish you peace, and they're going to have new people come in. And until they're willing to see the truth, eventually, again, they'll end up with people who are willing. They're either going to indulge someone because they could think these things of the world are the most important thing, really isn't about love. We got to be practical. If someone has those things of the world that I want, well, then I'll go indulge them. If I'm the one who seems to have more of those things of the world, then I think it's just and fair that people should indulge me. And that's a shadowy Taurus philosophy of life. Whoever seems to have more of those things of the world is the more privileged, indulged person in the relationship. And some people could think, I'm willing to indulge people. If they had more of those things of the world that I want, I would indulge them for those reasons. But if I have more, they should indulge me. Well, other people don't have that shadowy Taurus philosophy of life. They're motivated and inspired by love. I want to be in relationships with people because they love me and I love them, and we can all bring different things to the table. Some people do have more stability, security. Some people do have more status, image. Some people have more social clout, are maybe more outgoing or whatever it is. Other people are more nurturing, more loving, more encouraging, more stable grounding force in people's lives, insightful, mature, tempered in their ego. And some people are going to pick the people that maybe they do one or more of them has more of those things that people of the world could be drawn and attracted to, but that isn't the primary factor for the relationship. It's inspired to be in deep, meaningful relationships with people who want to be their own individual and be in loving and encouraging supportive relationships, to invest in their own unique talent, skills, interests, and dreams, and not people who try to stop people from doing that because that's outside my comfort zone and we should do life like this. And you respect each other as individuals with your own dreams, and it's not supposed to just be more about this or that or these people or the world. It's supposed to be living your authentic life in a more balanced way. We all put in work and effort to probably have stability and security in our life. And for some people, that is the driving factor in their life and the most important thing. And sometimes in our life, it is. Sometimes we need to do a lot of work and effort on that before we are ready to move forward and feel more balanced within ourselves. Some people, it always was more about a balance, but people could go through different phases of life where that is more the focus. But if you know some people where their long-term goals is more about them or the ego or the image, you realize that wasn't your truth and you're moving on. Or they're just more about themselves or being indulged. So there you go, Aquarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.